Hey friends, welcome to The Basement. I am Wilson, and I had just recently watched Doug Liman's new flick Roadhouse. For the 12 people out there that don't know, this is a remake of a late 80s cult classic Patrick Swayze movie.
Roadhouse.
I'm a big fan of the original, so I was admittedly a little bit skeptical going into this one. I mean, why does this movie even exist? Seems like an obscure movie to remake. But I know the answer now. They needed the name, the title, to get people interested. This movie is inferior to the original in every way. If you gave this movie a different title to have it stand on its own 2 feet, it completely breaks down. There's almost no value here. The similarities to the original are mostly plot-based. They both have a bouncer named Dalton who's trying to help out a local bar owner get their place cleaned up. And the villain in both films is also a local, super wealthy, who is the main reason for all this chaos at said bar. And the film does have several winks and nods to the original throughout it. In hindsight now, though, I found most of those patronizing as constant reminders of what this film isn't. The differences between the movies are huge, or the differences in quality, I should say. If there was one single thing that I thought this movie had a chance to do better than the original, it would have been in the action and the bar fights. After all, this is made by the same guy that made The Bourne Identity, which is a sweet movie. But no, they are worse. Much worse. It seemed like they were trying to give the action in this movie a very specific look by using some strange camera shots and using a lot of wide-angle lenses. You could pretty much see the post-production editing that was going on as you're watching this film, and it just made everything look very weird. On top of that, half the time it was super difficult to make out what was even going on in the action. They had so much shaky cam going on there, I wasn't even sure what I was looking at. I was legit shocked at how bad it looked. And this movie was going to live or die by its action. And here I am, mourning the faithfully departed. Let's talk about the music here for a minute. This movie had several bands playing music live at the bar, and I wasn't fond of any of them really, but that's kind of subjective. There was even this weird version of Enter Sandman that played at the climax of the movie that ended up just falling completely flat. While the original movie had the same band playing in this bar throughout it, the Jeff Healey Band. And that band and the music that they were playing was one of the best parts of the original movie. It had one of the best soundtracks of all time, in my opinion. For me, it genuinely enhanced the movie. As far as the acting and the performances go, the only one that I really thought was any kind of good was Jake Gyllenhaal. I have been a big fan of his for a long time, but I can't help compare his version of Dalton to Swayze's version. And I thought Patrick Swayze's version was much more enjoyable. But then again, he was not surrounded by bad acting like Gyllenhaal was. Conor McGregor, MMA legend that he is so out of place in this movie. He is the elephant in the room, people. He's more or less playing himself, and I do not understand how anybody thought that could be a good idea. And as I already mentioned, the fights were done so poorly that we didn't even get to benefit from his actual MMA experience. If he's not able to show the one thing that he's good at, then the whole character is wasted. There had to be other options for that character. He single-handedly makes the movie worse than it already is. And I'm not blaming Conor here. It's not really his fault. Dude is not an actor. At least not yet. Post Malone is in this movie too, and well, he's better than McGregor. But that's another thing that the original had. Real actors. I don't understand this trend of trying to inject this authenticity into these roles. I mean, it's a goddamn movie. Let the actors do their thing. Are you going to try and tell me that an actual blind person would have done a better job than Al Pacino in Scent of a Woman? I don't fucking think so.
All part of a plan, Charlie.
I read an article recently that said that Doug Liman was a little bit upset with Amazon because they decided to skip a theatrical release for this film. And I don't know, man. To me, that seems kind of like a blessing in disguise at this point. Word of mouth on this movie is going to be something like it was not good at best, and it's fresh dog shit at worst. I can't imagine anybody finding much enjoyment in this, unless you absolutely adore Jake Gyllenhaal. And even then, good luck. So yeah, I kind of think the cards were stacked against this movie from the get-go. If you changed the title and some character names, all you're left with here is a bad movie. And in all honesty, if this movie wasn't called Roadhouse, I don't think I would have even bothered with it. It's just another cash grab pulling at my nostalgia, and it ended up being nothing more than a giant train wreck. So let me know what you guys thought of this movie down in the comments section. Or better yet, let me know what you thought of the original film. It should be a much more positive experience then. And that's it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit those like and subscribe buttons, and I hope to see you again soon. I'm out of here.